Hi, in this video I want to talk about taking meetings online. This might seem like a very simple subject. We all know about Google Hangouts. This is all technology that's not really new to anyone. But the technique for really doing a meeting online properly is sometimes a little bit obscure. Not everyone is aware of how to do this. And it's more the human element than the technological element that we really need to discuss. When you're doing meetings remotely, anyone who has to use some kind of technology to join the meeting is at a disadvantage. And this is because we are social creatures. And when we're in a room together, we can read visual cues to see when it's someone's turn to speak, or when someone is showing some emotions that we may need to deal with. But when we're joining a meeting through some kind of technology, we can't pick up on any of those cues. So if you are running a meeting remotely where not everyone is remote, you need to level the playing field. And what I mean by this is if one person in the meeting needs to use some kind of technology to join that meeting, then everyone should use that technology. If you're fully remote, maybe this is because of a situation like the current pandemic, everyone's at home, then obviously you're all going to be signed in using the same technology. And this is a lot easier, but do make sure that everyone understands the kind of etiquette of a remote meeting. The important thing, especially in the case where everyone is remote, is to establish a protocol for people to be able to tell the rest of the group that they need a turn to speak, whether that's a chat group message or a digital hand raise in a tool that supports that like Zoom. You need some kind of protocol to either allow people to ask for a turn to speak, or you as the speaker, and this is for anyone who speaks during the meeting, needs to be practiced in the protocol of allowing a little space at the end of your message for anyone to speak or to respond to you or to ask some questions. And if you establish those protocols, practice on that, train your staff, that will give you a much more pleasurable remote meeting experience. Then going on to meetings with external parties, maybe you need to remotely host a meeting with a customer, a prospective customer. Perhaps there's some kind of medical emergency, everyone's stuck at home, there's a lockdown situation, or there's some other reason that no one can get to the office, or maybe even your client can't get to your office. Maybe it's just inconvenient for them to come there. When doing meetings with clients online, you need to follow these same procedures. Even though you may not be able to establish a protocol with your client, you need to at least keep that in mind for yourself. If you've finished speaking, if you've finished making some kind of pitch to the client, give them a few seconds of silence to collect their thoughts and respond. Don't assume that they will necessarily reply absolutely immediately. Do give them a few seconds. If there's an awkward silence of a couple of seconds, then maybe ask if they have any questions, or otherwise ask if they would like you to elaborate some more what you've spoken to or demonstrate something. But do give them an opportunity to speak. Don't just talk over them. Don't make it like a robot automated sales call where you just hear a talking voice for minutes and minutes and minutes and you have no opportunity to ask questions or to steer the conversation somewhere where you need it to go. And also, when doing a remote meeting with an external party, it's very important, especially if this is like a sales meeting or a product demonstration, to rehearse the meeting. Ask one of your co-workers if you can dial them first and go through whatever it is that you're trying to present or to demonstrate to the client. Because the last thing you want during that kind of call is to be sitting around going, "Oh, sorry, sir. Please just give me a second. Let me see where this file is that I wanted to show you. Sorry, I understand why this is not screen sharing. Sorry, can you see my screen now?" You don't want any of that. You definitely don't want that kind of situation happening during a call. It doesn't seem professional. It's not going to really give your client a good experience of a remote meeting. So what you want to do, particularly for client meetings, but I would say even for presentations, maybe to senior management, maybe they're not used to remote meetings, or maybe they are, but they expect a very high standard of you. Have a rehearsal first. Phone up a coworker and pretend that they are the client or the senior manager that you are presenting to, and go through everything you want to present. Make sure all of your technology works. Make sure you can share a presentation. Make sure you can share video. Make sure that your audio is up to scratch. And that actually brings me neatly to the last point in this video, and that is the audio equipment that you need for a successful online meeting. For a lot of people, there's kind of a concept that it's ideal to have the video camera on. Not everyone agrees on this, but in general, because having the video on increases the communication bandwidth. Conversely, it kind of decreases the internet bandwidth because you've got a lot of video coming over the line now, but it increases the communication bandwidth. It means the person on the other side can see your facial expression. They can see the emotions you're trying to convey. So if that's something that you feel is important, then yes, do use the video function. But more importantly, to get your message across, your audio needs to be clear and very audible. Now, a lot of people try this at first by just using the built-in microphone in their laptop. Some devices have very high quality microphones that are placed well and do give a fairly clear signal, but it's never going to be as good as a microphone that's close to the mouth of the speaker. Ideally, you want some kind of headset with a boom microphone, and that's going to give you two advantages. One is you're going to have the mic generally with the boom very close to your mouth, right here where my finger is now, and you're also going to have the sound coming through headphones, so you're blocking out some of the external sounds in your surroundings, giving you a clearer signal, and you're also eliminating any possibility of the signal coming from your audio device being fed back into the microphone, because that's going to create echoes or even possibly audible feedback, and that's not going to be a very nice experience for whoever is trying to hear you speak. But most importantly, having a headset with a high quality boom microphone where your voice is clearly audible. You don't want to sound like you're on an old style telephone. You ideally want a microphone close to your mouth while you're speaking, that's recording the audio very clearly in high quality. So some of the ones I've seen people use and that I use myself, there are Sennheiser USB headsets that are specifically designed for this. AKG makes them. A lot of the computer manufacturers make them. Logitech make very good headsets. It's really up to you what kind of headset you feel is comfortable, what sits nicely on your head, but do make the investment in a good headset that's going to give you a high quality audio signal for your meetings. And that's going to give you and everyone else in the meeting the best possible experience.